Okay. Alright, so many of you guys have heard the term adoption, and knows that it means that it's the process of taking on the responsibility and rights of a child. What you don't realize is how involved the process may be. So today I'm going to provide you with some more detailed information on adoption, which includes the process, the amount of time it takes to go through the process of adoption, and the cost of adoption. So I myself have always been interested in adopting a child when I get older. And having done this research over the past couple weeks, I now have a better understanding of what it really takes to pursue an adoption. So first, I'm going to go through the steps. So the first step is contacting an agency. So the parents or the potential adoptive parents will contact an agency and try and find an agency either through a friend, family member, or someone they know that's already gone through the process and try and get a referral. Or they can also check online, or you can also find an agency through an attorney as well. So a family or a person who is looking into adoption wants to find an agency that they're comfortable working with and that they can rely on to provide them with the best information if they don't already have knowledge on the process of adoption. So the second step is to learn about the adoption. So they want to find out more information on the adoption process and kind of make sure that it's right for them and see if that's what they really want to go through with. The third step is the placement, the pre-placement. So after getting enough information, the people who are interested in adopting will attend training classes so that they can learn more information on the process of adopting. And the fourth step in the process is the application. So before doing the application, they can't do the application until they know that that's really what they want to do. Is it right for them? Is it going to be right for the child that they're taking in? So the fifth step is the evaluation. So they evaluate the parents that are pursuing the adoption. They evaluate their home, their lifestyle, and make sure that the environment that the child is coming into is going to be suitable for that child. The sixth step, if they are approved and they've cleared what's called the home study, which is the home evaluation, they now get to move on to the next step, which is the approval. So they've been approved, and now they just need to wait to have a child placed with them in their custody. So those are the 7 steps to adoption. The timing of the adoption process for those steps are up here. The first step, or the first to 3 months, is when the parents are learning about the adoption. Like I said, that's when they're trying to figure out if it's right for them. Do they really know their living style, their living conditions? Is it going to be something that they can deal with or handle? Is there anything they need to change? Do they want to go on to the next step and fill out the application? 3rd to 6th month is deciding which adoption is best for them. So there's 2 types of adoption. One is domestic adoption, and the second one is international adoption, which I will talk to you about in just a second. The 6th to 9th month is completing the home study, which again I said is like a home evaluation. So it takes a little bit of time. It's not something that they just go in, evaluate once. During this time, they also have counseling where a social worker will be able to, they have professional counselors that will counsel the parents and answer any questions that they have, concerns or anything. And within 9 to 36 months is the child referral, so they make sure that they go through with they have a doctor, that they get all the medical records together and everything, and make sure that there's not going to be any problems later on legally with not having their medical records. So then the 12 to 40 placement of the child. So it's a long process, so they don't just, it's not like a 6-month process where they evaluate you really quick and just say, here's your child. So that does take up to 40 months. And then the last couple months is the finalization. So it's paperwork. You've already had the child placed in your family. You go through paperwork and post-adoption paperwork, which is the follow-up paperwork. Okay. So the 2 types of adoption are domestic adoption, which is adopting in the United States. And okay, so that's just pretty much adopting a child that's already been born in the United States. The second type of adoption is international adoption, and that's adopting a child that was born in another country. So parents need to go through getting passports together, and it's a similar process. They still have to go through the home study and evaluations and everything. But instead of having the child just placed with them, they go to the other country, they meet with the child and everything, and then the child is placed with them once they've been cleared with the home study and approved. So here is the cost of adoption. So a lot of people think they're just going to go in, fill out a couple of paperwork, like just a little bit of paperwork, and they're going to have a child donated to them. Well, they have to pay. So the majority of the domestic adoption costs anywhere between $25,000 and $35,000. So, and then these are just some dollar amounts of what it would cost in another country to adopt. And then an international adoption would cost around $25,000. Okay, so that's that. So today I've discussed with you the 2 types of adoption, the amount of time that it takes to complete the adoption process, and the average cost of the adoption. That's it.
All right, Matua, what did you think?
It was very clean. It was informative. I like the picture because so I can see what's going on with it. It was overall nice.
All right, well, your attention device is okay. It's not as interesting as it could be, but it tells us what the topic is, and you got a definition. You've got a pretty clear statement of what your goal is. There's a good preview. You kind of create your own personal justification for talking about that, so that's okay. The supporting material, obviously you've got research and you've got some places that you've gotten your visual materials from. I think you want to cite that a little more consistently, but I know that the information is coming from someplace, and so the citation is a little bit problematic. The explanations are okay. Mostly it just feels like you're giving us a list. I feel like I got 3 lists in a short amount of time, and they're not very interesting. What you need to do to turn this into a really effective speech is to take those lists, for instance, and make them come alive by giving us an example. Tell us a story about somebody who's gone through this process. Even if it's a hypothetical example, it's going to be a lot more interesting than just listening to, and typically at this point then people do a home assessment. Okay, well, what did the home assessment consist of for Bob and June, our fictional couple who, they were visited by a social worker, they were interviewed by social workers on their parenting skills. There was a background check by the FBI. I mean, I don't know what's going on. It turns out that Bob was, a wanted criminal someplace, and they had to clear that up before he could get, before he could be approved for adoption, something like that. But finally, after 9 months, they were cleared for this. And